Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Today's November 19th. We are counting days down the days until Thanksgiving. I ended up just kind of having life just happened last week. And I think it was the mostly just me getting a new job that was a lot busier and kind of just reacting to that and just kind of like every day coming home from work and everything being so different that it just felt like I kept on getting like punched in the gut to the point where I was tired. And then on top of that, we had a couple of errands that we were running around. Just didn't get a chance to do a live stream. Every once in a while, I like doing two of these a week. Most of the time, like Tuesdays and Wednesdays are kind of like the busiest days. Every once in a while, we've done a Thursday, but we've at least done one for a good while now, probably going back to SummerSlam, I would guess. But just didn't do one last week. If I was going to do one, I probably would have talked about the Madison Square Garden Monday Night Raw. The last one that we did, we covered the Boston Garden Monday Night Raw with John Cena's last, Raw appearances coming up. But no real plan here. We're going to talk a little bit about WWE Survivor Series 2025, which is going to be coming up. Of course, it's War Games, San Diego. But Miguel hit me up a while back, and freaking I-88. I mean, I got to see him last September when we went to Ravi's wedding in Toronto. That was one heck of an ordeal. It was really, really fun. I got to go there with my girlfriend. I got to see Mike. I got to see Ravi. I got to see Miguel. It was just all around good times. Before that, I got to see Ravi in 2020. I've seen Mike on that same trip, and then I went to his house for a Blink-182 show a few years ago. Miguel, though, honestly, I have not seen Miguel since WrestleMania 32. Um, I had opportunities where there were wrestling trips, but I just didn't have the money to go on. When Miguel asked me to go to San Diego, he 100% was the reason that I wanted to go on that trip. Miguel is kind of in a weird place. If you've been checking out Ravi Assault and Battery 777's channel, he's really getting back into making videos. I don't want to put it on him, but he's almost making videos. It seems like at least once a week, but like there's days when it's continuous uploads, and I'm cheering for it because I had my day in the sun, and I do YouTube honestly because I find it very fun, and I think it's really cool to get my thoughts off, and kind of like talk to people and give my ideas. The days of doing this for money are truthfully very gone. Like they went away a long time ago. So me finding my love with professional wrestling, in order to go on the WrestleMania 41 trip, it's pretty much just for love of the game is the reason to do this. But I really hope that we can get freaking I-88 back in the game of making videos. His channel currently is like privated where like nobody can see his old videos. And if you grew up watching those things, I know I didn't really like grow up watching his videos in the 2010s. I was already pretty old as it was, but I really enjoyed him, and there's a lot of them that I still like to go back and check out. And I'll never forget the day that I went to go. I think I was going to watch his like meeting Ultimate Warrior video, and it was gone. But freaking 88, one of my best friends in the world. It's so different, being able to text somebody and give your thoughts and respond. We used to talk honestly like daily. Skype was kind of like a phone call. It wasn't really like FaceTime where you could like see the other person. But I felt like I talked to that guy like every freaking day for the longest time. So now to be able to hook up, go on a wrestling trip, even if like the time in San Diego is probably going to be 24 hours. I think I fly in Saturday morning. I go to the show we sleep in a hotel, and I fly out Sunday to come home and hopefully watch the Browns game. I think we play the Browns that day. Um, I'm pretty sure that would be pretty sweet if it lined up with the bye week, but I'm not 100% sure. 49ers are going to be playing the Panthers on Monday night. I apologize to everybody. The Niners are not the team that I thought they were going to be. I hope we can find it, but honestly, we're hurt. We're really hurt. When you're losing like two of your studs on defense, you're just not going to be able to to stand up against the rest of the NFL. But we got a lot of heart. We're trying our best. I bet there's a lot of teams that would love to be 7-4 in the NFL right now. But we're doing our best. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna get it. But when Miguel asked me to go to San Diego, I didn't really think about anything. Maybe I kind of thought about the fact of like you're crossing off those wrestling bucket list ideas. I saw a Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 26, but I still honestly would really love to go see a Money in the Bank pay-per-view. See two of those matches in the same night. I know that Jack Swagger, one of my favorite wrestlers, I love the dude. I wish he would have been at WrestleCon last year in order to meet him. I know he's kind of got out of the wrestling business since he left AEW. Um, but I would love to get a chance to meet that dude. But for some reason, when I close my eyes and I try to, pair things off, um, I've never been to a Money in the Bank pay-per-view, although I have seen a match. But that is kind of like pretty high on my list as something that I would really love to see, especially if it just went to Las Vegas. I know it's been there in the past, and it was supposed to have a big one where they were actually going to have it in Allegiant Stadium, and then ended up being moved to. Did they have it at MGM? I know that tickets were the one biggest reason they just didn't move as many as they thought they did. There wasn't the draw to go, but I would go to Vegas again, especially on I think a really quick trip just to see Money in the Bank. But when I think about the history of wrestling and what War Games has meant to WCW and wrestling fans, I remember when the first War Games Blu-ray set came out. That was, I don't know, if I'm guessing 2014, 2015. War Games was like the lifeblood. It was the heart of WCW. I really felt like it wasn't Starrcade, but I felt like the yearly schedule was built around War Games, building up teams of heels to go up against teams of faces. And, the true story is that nobody ever believed that it was going to happen, but good always wins. when it comes to War Games, they might not win the coin flip, but they find a way to win the match, and it's just total devastation. And I understand that this is not WCW, this is WWE, but I can honestly tell you, for what it is, War Games has been awesome to WWE. They really brought it in, and they were able to build it around Adam Cole's group when they were running NXT, and then they finally gave it a chance on the main roster. There were so many rumors for so many years that Vince McMahon didn't want to do War Games because it was a WCW idea. I honestly thought a lot of it had to do with the fact that you have two rings, you have it surrounded by a cage. There's going to be ringside seats that you're not going to be able to have on your floor because of the fact you're having an extra ring out there. But in my mind, row one stretches longer because it's going the base of two rings going over the other side. So you're kind of getting more premium seating in order to see the War Games matches. My biggest thing is that, like, when they used to do like the World War Threes, or they would do the War Games in WCW, when you're picking where your seats are going to be, how do you know actually what ring they're going to be using for the regular matches. That's kind of one of the things that's always there. But when you think about War Games, you think about Ric Flair, you think about Sting, you think about the NWO. Um, Running things until the dying days of WCW. But I've never had a chance to actually go to a War Games match. Most of the War Games matches when they were in WCW were held in like I think they were like in North Carolina in Flair country. That was kind of like the history of where they would do them. But to be able to say that like, oh yeah, I went to a War Games, that's pretty freaking sweet. And you look at this card, you look at the calendar. I'll, I'm not going to tell you that I shed a tear. I'm not going to tell you that I cried on Monday. I don't think I really even came close. But John Cena, he really got me on Monday. I think it really sunk in that that was the last Monday Night Raw with John Cena, popping up. More than likely we're going to see him do a Raw reunion, some sort of Raw anniversary, old school Raw, something to that effect. Cena's going to come back, whether if it's him to being a guest host to prevent. No, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say to I don't know. What is the word I'm looking for? Do a commercial for. I guess I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like get the word out there that he has a movie coming out. So his past wrestling fans can all go to the movies in order to see it. I think we're gonna get that. It might not be as soon as we all hope, but I mean, like, I think it's really freaking special that I get a chance to go see John Cena's second to last match. It's not the match that I was hoping for. John Cena wrestling against Dominic Mysterio. Um, he wasn't really on my bingo card. I guess it's a little bit better than him wrestling a match against like Sheamus, something like that. I just it doesn't really do anything in the long run. I guess you have like a memory of them like battling it out around Fatal Four Way when the Nexus showed up or something like that, or thinking about the time that they had the TLC match. No, it wasn't a TLC match; it was a tables match, and Cena slipped off of the second rope and went through the table, giving Sheamus his first WWE championship in a match that was set up by Jesse Ventura, something like that. But John Cena winning the Intercontinental Championship, he becomes a Triple Crown, Grand Slam, whatever kind of champion you want it to be, where he's won, WWE, Intercontinental, United States, as well as the tag belts. Um, I don't think that was something that was on like a Cena wish list of wanting to be there. When you're, WWE champion 17 times, or I guess they call it world champion because he had that other belt a few times. But I mean, like when you hold that many major championships, I don't think you're really sitting in the back wondering, like, hey, how can I get that intercontinental title to make sure it's gonna, look a little bit better on the back of my Hall of Fame T-shirt that they're gonna sell at the Shop Zone WrestleMania weekend. I don't know. It just isn't like another biggest, but I'm not going to say that I'm also crying tears that John Cena is going to defend this Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. I really wanted him in War Games. War Games, I just see that babyface side. The Usos are a really good tag team. And when the Usos are in the tag team division, they are looked at as some of the most major stars in WWE. And Jey Uso has moved mountains this year to prove that he is a solo star. But to me, they haven't done anything to help Jimmy Uso in this whole deal. So I would have loved for Cena to be like in this main event War Games match, having a true dream team of WWE superstars. Because I mean, we've got Roman, we've got Jay, we've got Jimmy. So you kind of have the bloodline in there. But I mean, if they wanted to go true bloodline, we would have found a way to have like Jacob Fatu in there. Um, and try to round it out and give the rub to somebody like that. On Monday Night Raw, we had the Judgment Day come down. They seem to be united as of right now with Dominic Mysterio. We'll have to see on Friday Night SmackDown if anybody wants to stand up and try and help Finn Balor now in his last time is now tournament match where he's going to be wrestling against Penta. And I think we all know that at least JD is going to be there. But where is Dominic Mysterio's head? Because if Dom doesn't show up on SmackDown, I'm really wondering if Finn and JD are going to be on the same page come Survivor Series, and are they really going to be wanting to help him now? When it's all said and done, I don't think I'll be like bragging about the fact that I got to see John Cena's last PLE match. I don't really think that's going to matter, but I honestly think it is pretty damn cool. I wish that it was easier to get tickets to the Washington D.C. Saturday night's main event, to be able to say that you are at the last John Cena match. I know Ravi looked into it, but it just was too much money, and at the point you're thinking like what you could afford with the price of these matches that are going to be. So there's no real storyline to this match. I'll tell you the truth. I'm trying to think in my head, like, how do you get the Intercontinental title off of John Cena without having him lose? Because I'll tell you the truth. With John Cena not being in War Games, what the hell was WrestlePalooza about? I can understand John Cena losing to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, one hell of a huge star. Brock Lesnar pretty much kicked John Cena's ass his whole career, but John couldn't win that one. I can understand if you're trying to tell the story of Brock and John in War Games, and maybe the babyface team is pretty beaten up, and John has to tie one on and basically fight the heels as well as Brock Lesnar, and they tell the story like, hey, John Cena is 1-4 in matches against Brock Lesnar in WWE, and Cena pulls off the unknown that we've never seen before, and he finds a way to even the odds by taking out Brock Lesnar. I can understand if that's what it's going to be, but Cena's never going to be looking to get his win back. He's never going to be trying to like even the odds. If this was John Cena that we watched back in the day, almost every John Cena feud was like 3 matches, if not more. I'm talking about like the Randy Orton feud felt like it went for like 10 months at one point, to the point where they had a match on a pay-per-view and they were calling it the last Randy Orton versus John Cena match that you will ever see, because I think they knew that they were giving us the best match possible, but they had done it so many times that they just killed the crowd, and there was nothing out there that people wanted to see anymore. There was nothing they could do to make that match matter. Dom is a really good Intercontinental Champion. Dom holding the AAA Mega Championship, I think it doesn't mean a lot to most wrestling fans on WWE watching Raw, but I'm going to take a shot at him, and I apologize. Much like when you're watching AEW, and it seems like every person has a belt, as long as he has a belt, it's going to matter. But in the long run, I don't want just like the Intercontinental Championship to be, held up in a tournament after John's leaving. And I also don't want John's last match to be crowned as an Intercontinental Championship match. John's last match should straight up be John's last match. And I haven't done my homework. I'm doing this off the top of my head. As of right now, Cena's last match is either going to be against Cena. No, he is Cena. Cena's last match is either going to be against Sheamus, Rusev, LA Knight. Who won the other match? Gunther, Solo Sikoa. I'm only missing one name. What was the other match? LA Knight had a mystery opponent, and the other person was shoot, I don't remember. So as of right now, we know it's going to be, one of those people. We've got Penta versus Finn Balor, and we have shoot, one more. You know, it looks like the rumors have been out there for a while. It looks like Gunther is going to win this. Gunther is a former Intercontinental Champion. He also just was holding the World Heavyweight Championship that he has held twice in his career, and we're already going to be handing him an Intercontinental Championship. The guy has been champion for like 75% of the time that he's been in WWE, counting, the NXT UK, his time on SmackDown, his time on Raw. He's held belt over belt. He just doesn't have to be holding a belt just to be holding a belt. The guy is imposing. And then like what are we gonna do? Are we gonna build up Sami Zayn yet once again to come out and beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship and try to act like this time it's going to mean something? The last time that he beat him at WrestleMania, it was forgotten about like 2 weeks later. Cena's match is going to be Cena's match. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be, kind of like overlooked because of the fact that there's 2 War Games matches on the same card. I'm picking Cena to get the win. I just don't want to see Cena lose. I don't care if it's like a 10-on-1 beatdown where every member of the Judgment Day comes down there and get their shots in on John Cena, and Cena gets to like kind of like dust himself off when he gets up and wave to the crowd. I don't want to see Cena lose. When you watch a Western, you're not looking for like John Wayne to get shot in it and die. You want to see him take on everybody at the Alamo and shoot his way out and go home happy at the end of the night. That's what I'm looking forward to with John Cena. We got a women's championship match, Stephanie Bakir versus Nikki Bella. I honestly didn't know that this match was going to happen as fast as it did. I think everybody could tell that Nikki Bella was pretty much overplaying her friendship with Stephanie Bakir. It started very funny with Nikki Bella mispronouncing Stephanie's name on Monday Night Raw. At the time, I thought it honestly was just like Nikki Bella was coming back to wrestling. It was right after her divorce had been announced and the divorce settlement, and it kind of felt like they were putting this narrative out there that Nikki Bella needed money, so Nikki Bella was going back to WWE. It wasn't really like for love of the game, she's going to be here for a month and then she's going to go back to being required. It was kind of like, damn, that child support is a lot. And then on top of that, the alimony was like, wow. But I love Nikki. Nikki, I've always been a fan of for a long time. There was a time when people thought that women's wrestling in WWE was very, very bad. And I always stuck up for Nikki Bella, saying that, like, out of everybody out there, I honestly thought that she was trying more than anybody else. This last week, Bryan Danielson, who is involved with AEW, I think he's more than just the announcer. I think he is like a helper. I don't really have a true name. Maybe it's not a producer, but it's something more than that for Tony Khan. And the word came out that Nikki Bella said that Bryan Danielson was helping him a lot, or helping her a lot with her matches. And I think a lot of people were kind of like, but he's an AEW guy. Why is he helping her out? It's because it's his sister-in-law. like I don't get it, and it's been longer than I thought it was. I thought by now we would have got Brie Bella. Maybe if there wasn't the injury to Liv Morgan, Brie would have came back and they would have had the match at Evolution. I thought that was what the plan was for, and I honestly thought that was the one reason that Nikki Bella was coming back, was just to do the Evolution pay-per-view. But now she's like a true person on the roster. And that's what like really makes me shake my head at this match. And especially with her heel turn, like how much Nikki are we going to get? Because after this heel turn and she gets beat by Stephanie Vakir, I don't really understand where she sits on the roster. With it being so late in the year, in November, we only have a Saturday night's main event. In December, January, we have another Saturday night's main event, then the Royal Rumble. Like, is that what we're doing? The run to the Rumble, and then she could be a competitor in it. And you know, maybe then she could go back to just doing her podcasts and the other businesses that she's involved in. Um, when it really comes down to it, Vakir's gonna kill her at the pay-per-view. I don't have a doubt in my mind. I would love to see Nikki get a win and get a championship run here, but I think it's just more than what they have plans for. Stephanie Vakir, I think the plan for WWE is to shoot her straight to the moon. More than likely, I think what they're working towards for a WrestleMania match would be Stephanie Vakir going up against Rhea Ripley, who I think is one of the most favorable odds to win the Royal Rumble coming up this year. So I'm guessing that's what they're getting to. In their back pocket, they have Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. They've really been playing that up for the fact that Io has beaten Rhea every single time that they've had a match. But I don't know. I just don't see that as a WrestleMania match. So as of right now, I think that Stephanie's going to be holding this championship all the way until at least WrestleMania. Women's War Games. I'll tell you the truth. Like, I'm really pumped to see this match. I know that everybody in it is going to give 100%. As of right now, we have Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss going up against Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka. On Monday Night Raw, we had two different storylines building up into this match. Basically, last week we had Charlotte Flair say that she was not going to be involved with this match because she doesn't trust and she doesn't like Rhea Ripley. Then we had Alexa Bliss on Monday Night Raw calling out Charlotte, saying that we were best friends. How can you do this to me? I'm putting myself into a position that I'm going to the biggest fight of my life. And just because you're not friends and you don't like Rhea Ripley, you're not going to be there and you're not going to have my back. As Alexa Bliss is wearing a shirt that says, "We are not friends." That is the whole basis of the storyline of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, is that they are the complete opposites. They are two very good singles wrestlers, both holding, various championships along their way on Raw and SmackDown, but they're able to find a way to coexist to win the women's championships and to hold them. I thought that they would have a good run with the belt. And then once their turn was done, probably with the titles going back to Judgment Day for the Liv Morgan return, that's where I thought we were going. But they ended up dropping the titles to the Kabuki Warriors, who were building themselves up. I thought that Asuka was setting herself up for one hell of a singles run not that long ago, but I guess them being the tag champs is where we're going. I really thought they had a whole storyline built up for Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Roxanne being so good friends with Raquel Rodriguez, the former tag partner of Liv Morgan. I think you got to put those tag titles back on there to make that a little bit more hot when Liv returns. But near the end of Raw, Rhea Ripley walked up to AJ Lee and said, "Hey, let's talk." And I think that what they're talking about is the last spot in War Games on this team. If you know AJ Lee joins the babyface side, you would think that she's going to be opposed. That Becky Lynch would be forced to join this team. When I look at both of these competitors, neither of them have any affiliation with anybody on this team. Nobody in this match has had a match with AJ Lee. So she doesn't have a reason in order to come back because she said it herself. The reason that she came back at WrestlePalooza was to help her husband because Seth Rollins and basically Becky Lynch were picking a fight against him, and she wanted to go out there and even the odds. And then for whatever reason, she has not been on Raw since WrestlePalooza all the way until last week. And when she does, all of a sudden now she is the hottest thing on the roster, and we need to put her in War Games right away. When you look at Becky Lynch is somebody who's always been a lone wolf ever since she's become the man. The fact that Becky would want to put her into a situation where she's putting herself into friendship with Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. I have no clue what the hell's going on. The only thing that comes together in my mind is that Becky Lynch would want to be in this match because she's going up against Charlotte. We haven't seen Charlotte and Becky Lynch in a long time, but I think it's one of the hottest storylines the females have that goes way back to the point where I think that they could get something behind it. But that's where they're going. That's what we're going to get to in this upcoming week. When I'm looking at this, I honestly think that the baby faces. I think that Rhea and Io, with Alexa, AJ, and Charlotte, I think they have to get the win here. Like we were talking about the history of WCW's War Games back in the day, it's always going to be about the good guys having their day and showing you how much heat that they get put on themselves. When they get put into a situation like this, they're going to find a way to come out on top. No doubt in my mind, the men's War Games match is going to be putting itself into the main event spot. Monday Night Raw, ended on Monday with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar both making their returns, coming down, both getting over on the other team. Brock came running down, hitting suplexes and F5s on everybody involved in this match. Roman made his way out, and nobody really backed down, knowing who Roman Reigns was. But he got into there, and basically, he's not scared to go to war with anybody. This match, honestly, is so well connected in so many different ways. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was pretty much the feud of last year. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar have gone to war so many times. The last time, though, Brock Lesnar was like giving his respect to Cody, but I guess that's gone right out the window. Cody and Drew are coming right out of a situation where they were going back and forth for the past few months, having singles matches. The Usos and Roman, no stranger to Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre blames them in the bloodline for him not becoming WWE champion back in the day when they were building up Clash at the Castle. Maybe that's what it was. So there's a lot of history here. Looking at honestly just about everything, playing off of what was last year. CM Punk and Roman Reigns were able to work together, and they were able to, get the job done. When Punk helped out Roman and did the favor for Paul Heyman. But when it comes down to it, I don't think Roman and Punk are on the same page. I thought that was going to be one of the biggest storylines in WWE coming out of WrestleMania. WrestleMania 41, night one's main event, was CM Punk with Paul Heyman going up against Paul Heyman's Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. The one guy that walked out of WrestleMania with Paul Heyman was Seth Rollins. Then we showed up the next night on Monday Night Raw, and it was um, Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins sending CM Punk and Roman Reigns to the woodshed. They beat him so bad that Roman disappeared and never really came back. I thought one of the biggest storylines coming out of WrestleMania was going to be Punk and Roman having to find a way to work together to overcome the odds of what the vision were. But instead, Roman Reigns just packed his bags, went home, and said, hey, you know what? I'll come back around SummerSlam time, and we won't even talk about the fact that Seth Rollins stole Paul Heyman from me. I just want to work together with Jey Uso, and I'm going to go up against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Make sure you check out SmackDown this week. Bronson Reed is going to be in a match against Carmelo Hayes, and we're going to have to see if things pile over from War Games into that match, making sure that Bronson Reed doesn't get the win there. Maybe we could see a Roman Reigns, but I'm thinking that even though Bronson has beat Roman, I'm wondering if Roman's going to show up on SmackDown just to stop Bronson Reed from getting a win over a guy like Carmelo Hayes. But I don't think we're going to be able to see him move on and be in a match. Maybe if Bronson wins and his second round match is next Friday, I'm not sure if SmackDown is in San Diego. I'm not sure if they're making it that big of a deal, where everything is going to be in that city. But maybe Roman stops Bronson from being there. But I think something is going to go down on SmackDown this week. So I am honestly really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to the whole show. More than likely, one more match is going to be added. Honestly, when it comes to SmackDown versus Raw, I honestly hope that the match is going to be I just bit my tongue. What the heck was that? I really hope that it honestly is a SmackDown match that's going to be added to it, because Stephanie Vakir, Nikki Bella, and then John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio is pretty much Monday Night Raw matches. The War Games matches are mixes of SmackDown versus Raw talent. But one of my biggest problems with the Carmelo Hayes versus Miz feud that seems like it's been going on forever, with them breaking up as Miz being his mentor and tag team partner, is that I can't think of a Carmelo Hayes versus Miz match ever happening. And if it was like old school WWE Network or old school Peacock, ever since they went to this 5-match rundown for the PLEs, they do make them very fun. And it seems like it's a lot less work to watch them. But I don't know. It just seems like a lot of matches and a lot of feuds just kind of get oh, that's enough. We're just moving on to the next one. So just for that one reason, even if it's like Aleister Black going up against Damian Priest, that's another match that needs to be added from SmackDown. I would like to see something like that. But these War Games matches, with the way that the time constraints are for people coming into the ring, and the heels having the advantage and things like that, I don't know. Maybe 4 matches is all they're really going to need. If I look at War Games last year, let's go to here. Oh, a little bit down. 2024 War Games. We had, keep scrolling. They had 5 matches. We had the Women's War Games match. We had Shinsuke Nakamura going up against LA Knight for the U.S. belt. Braun Breaker against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser for the Intercontinental title. Gunther versus Damian Priest for the heavyweight belt. And then we had the men's War Games to end it all. So, yeah, I think we're looking at one more match to be named here. I'll tell you the truth. Looking into the future, I don't see me doing another live stream. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't think there's a chance in hell that I don't do at least a video about every match in War Games, even if it's only just like one a day, to get us to the point of War Games. I think it's going to be hard. We're selling a lot of turkeys, but we got a lot more to sell. So we got to get ready for that. So peace out, everybody. I'll see you guys down the road. Thank y'all very much. WWE Survivor Series 2025 War Game San Diego. I'm coming to town and I'm taking it over.